Morning, y'all. Give it a couple minutes for some people to come on. Weather's a little bit cooler today. Got my strength training in. Now I'm doing my cardio. It's an everyday thing here. Well, 6 days a week. But I gotta keep the body getting stronger. Gotta keep the body getting fitter. Gotta stay healthy as you age. So, and it's important to feel good and treat our bodies well, right? So I did a video last night talking about the Juan DeFranco situation. He was found guilty on I think it's sexual abuse of a minor. I don't know what the exact name of it was, but he was given a 2-year suspended prison sentence. Okay, meaning this he basically, the conditions are that he doesn't have to go to prison as long as he stays out here and doesn't target young girls with sexual intentions. Okay. Guess that's what happens when you have money, right? Lots of it. Because the Rays gave him a ton of it. So, for his baseball skills. And, and it is what it is. That's the verdict. That's what it was, right? And, I also mentioned that had that happened here, they wouldn't have been so, understanding of that. Because we do have a lot of people leading the country right now that are very hostile to minorities. That's a fact. Okay, that's a fact no matter what anybody says. So, it's obvious. It's public record. Right? So, but, boy, that triggered MAGA yesterday. Right? And I lost about, 60 subscribers overnight, something like that. And people are asking me to apologize for calling out the cruelty. Never mind asking the people to apologize for the actual cruelty. Never mind that. But I'll just say this, gang. Totally cool if you want to unsubscribe. Understand, okay? And if you're more upset with me for calling out the cruelty than the actual cruelty, then please feel free to unsubscribe. I'm not going to hold it against you. It's your right to do it, okay? Just like it's my right to point this stuff out, right? Fact is, just like you, I'm a person. And I think treating people with dignity and respect, no matter who they are, no matter what they look like, is important to me. Everybody might not agree with that, and that's fine. Okay? And it's crazy too? I always talk about baseball here, but I didn't even mention anybody yesterday. Not a single person. Didn't even mention politics or anything. Just pointing out that fact. And people knew exactly who it was already. Right? And if folks think I'm the problem for that, then I got 2 bridges to sell you, right? So, well, let's keep the cleanse going, Give the channel an occasional enema. So people, again, prefer cruelty, and they want to call it Christianity, they want to call it patriotism, feel free to unsubscribe. Let's keep the cleanse going. I'm not here for the money, okay? I'm here to talk baseball with people. But if something like this happens, yeah, I am compelled to call it out. Because at the end of the day, it's decency. It's treating people like they're human beings, okay? And that is a problem to me when they don't do that. Okay, and shout out to everybody in the chat, by the way. Okay, this is not a political conversation. I'm not mentioning any political positions. I'm not mentioning any economic positions or anything like that. I'm talking about cruelty, right? And this is pretty obvious, okay? If people just fact check, you'll see it everywhere, okay? And the fact is, this guy brought in a neo-Nazi to run immigration. And he has a financial interest to the company that helps ICE deport people. Okay? There is a money trail that he's connected to. It is public. And if people are okay with that, fine. If people are angry with me for calling it out, fine. Totally cool. Totally understand. But again, like, this is, to me, morning. Decency is important to me. Okay? And I can't speak for everybody else. I won't do it. Okay? If it's not important to other people, fine. There are channels that talk baseball, that peddle cruelty all the time, talk political propaganda all the time, right? And they're either living in denial or living in fear of this man, right? That's on them. That's their right to do. Totally cool. But I'm not going to do it here, okay? Being decent to people is important here. Trashing people doesn't happen here, especially when they're not here to respond, not here to defend themselves. If that makes other people feel alpha male, masculine, whatever, go right ahead. Do it on your channel. Go listen to some more Joe Rogan. Don't care. Don't care. But a lot of people got outraged last night because this stuff was called out. And all I did was I pointed out a fact, right? Like, and people's true colors really come out. And like I said, people are more than welcome to unsubscribe to this channel. Okay? More than welcome to. I'm not going to hold it against you. In fact, I'd be more than happy to block you so you can't come back. All right? So, more than happy. But that was the news yesterday in baseball, right? That was the news. Aside from some games being played and blah, blah, blah. And the round 2 of the NBA draft. That was it. Knicks drafted someone I never heard of. Made a trade, right? Whatever. No. But that was the most significant news yesterday. Juan DeFranco. And, you know, if folks are okay with a sexual predator here dictating a lot of our lives, but want Juan DeFranco punished, and that's on them. You can't tell people how to live their lives. Just like we don't tell people how to fan, even though they like to tell Cashman how to GM, they like to tell Boone how to manage, they like to tell Hal how to own, right? Because you call them out on this stuff, it's woke. Most of these people don't even know what the hell woke is. That's just a slogan put forth by the movement, right? I'm not calling it names. I'm not giving it any credence. I don't want to mention its name because they're not worthy of it, okay? I had to speak my piece this morning. So again, I appreciate the people who stick with me. We talk a lot of good baseball. We like to have people's voices heard. But this is a blatant injustice, man. This is foul, okay? You're creating, you know, people come in here following the legal path, right? Going to courts, and then you have these masked guys apprehending them, putting them into custody with the goal of deporting them. People coming through legal means, and then you're all of a sudden making it illegal. And then you're going to go on TV and call it illegal immigration. Get real. Do you honestly think we don't see what you're doing? Just because Fox News doesn't call it out doesn't mean it isn't happening. Okay? This is real life stuff. Just like the people who come here and watch, listen to, you know, you folks are people too. You deserve to be treated with respect as well. Right? And that's why I stand up for people in here. That's why I block people who are a-holes to people on the channel. Because we don't do that here. So that's my piece, gang. Good morning to everybody. Good morning to all of you. And again, like I said, if people want to unsub, they are more than welcome to. Because it is. Okay? And look, me, I'm a white dude. Right? Not a minority. But I still stand up for them. They're people too, okay? And yeah, I'm not here to put profits over people. That's foul. It stinks. But that's the reality. People can choose which side of reality they want to live in. That's their right to do. It's your right to do. Right? Totally cool. I'm not going to bash people for that. It's why this country gives rights to everybody, even though that other side doesn't want that to be the place. Doesn't want that to be the case. Clearly, obviously. Nothing I say changes that. Nothing anybody else says changes that. It's just a fact. Right? Who's in here? Just finished my cardio. David, it's your boy. Yeah. Compassion, empathy, it's important, man. Isn't that what the Bible teaches? These people pawn themselves off as Christians, right? Yet they're here taking healthcare away from kids, stealing nutrition away from poor kids. You show me where in the Bible it shows that. It talks about that. Please, I went to Catholic school all the way through high school. Studied the Bible pretty much every day. Can't find a single verse in there that says take healthcare away from kids and take food away from hungry people. Because the rich folks need a tax cut. If you find the verse in the Bible that says that, please show us. I'll eat my words. Happily. Huh? Yeah, Michael, that's it. Yeah, I understand that. But the problem is, they're coming through legal means, okay? Legal ports of entry. And this group of people running this stuff turned them into illegal ports of entry, okay? They closed legal ports of entry, forcing these people, who are the ones that pick our fruits and vegetables, who are the ones that are doing the jobs that American people refuse to apply for, they're making it so, okay? Why are they doing that? Why are they letting in white immigrants but getting rid of the dark ones? Because they've done that recently too. Why is that happening? Yeah, exactly. It's not about illegal immigration. They're trying to make it sound, that's their talking point, illegal immigration. They're trying to gut the legal immigration system. This is clear, it's obvious, okay? They can go on Fox News and lie about all they want. There's a reason why Fox News sued in court for the right to lie to people. There's a reason why they paid $800 million 2 years ago for lying to people. That's the whole point. And people fall for it. So, but again, that's on them. I understand the argument. If you come here illegal, I totally get that. Okay? You'll be treated accordingly. But if you come here legally, right, and you're following the processes as the Constitution allows them, and then you're trying to detain them and deport them because you don't want them to be here because they're not white, the powers that be are the ones breaking the law. And why are they not held accountable? Again, this is about decency. It's about treating people like human beings. These people are human goddamn beings. What the hell's wrong with that? And yeah, it makes me angry when I see this happen. Because it's messed up. Trying to get rid of good people. They're not the ones mass shooting our schools. Right? They're not. Not the ones mass shooting our churches. Nope. Okay? But yes, if somebody comes illegally and it's proven, then let them go through the court system, due process, which is also trying to be stripped from people, clearly, without any argument, and they're shutting down dissenting voices, shutting down people trying to question them on it, shutting down people trying to call them on it, right? Why are they doing that? Can anybody explain? These are simple questions. Yeah, Michael, and I'm glad they came legal, and they had an easier path. But this group of people right now is trying to get rid of the legal path and force it so that they have no choice, right? Why are they doing that? Right? And these people that they're getting rid of pay more taxes than corporations do. They pay more taxes than mega churches do in America. So, yet they're trying, and they're doing this to try to pass this disgusting budget bill. Right? No. But human beings is damn right, man. And if people are offended by that, then please unsubscribe to this channel. If you are offended by decency, please, I'm not going to hold it against you. I'm not going to come looking for it. I'm not going to call you out on the channel either, right? I'm not going to attack you at any point in time. That's your right to feel that way. The Constitution does grant us the ability to have our own positions. Thankfully, we have that. But this had to be said, right? And again, people can be offended all they want. That's totally fine. But like I said before, if you are more offended with me calling this behavior out than the actual behavior, then that's a you thing. Right? Why is it so hard to treat people with decency? What's the problem? Yeah, and a lot of these folks who come over here and pick our fruits and vegetables, they're working their asses off. They don't cause any trouble. They pay taxes and they send money back to their families in other countries. It's at the very definition of selfless, of hardworking, selfless people. Right? Well, exactly, too, yeah. We're disagreeing. The left and right they are disagreeing about reality. That's a great point, Jack. A fantastic point. They are disagreeing about reality. One side is trying to create their own bubble. They did call it an alternate facts, alternate reality. They do call this stuff, right? Well, what about alternate facts? What alternate facts? Facts are the facts. What are you talking about? Right? There's a reason why Fox News got sued for $800 million. They had to pay $800 million for lying to people. It's also a public record. Everybody knows this. Right? Again, people can still have their positions. That's totally fine. Yeah, I mean, look, people, like I said last night too, and I responded to a lot of comments last night. You look at the comments on the video I put out last night by Juan DeFranco. You'll see it in there. And they're accusing me of lying and all this stuff. And I posted the reporting of Stephen Miller, the guy who runs immigration, having a financial connection to a company that is helping ICE deport immigrants right now. There's a money trail. He's tied to it financially. Okay? There's a reason why this guy had Bitcoin and Coinbase and all them sponsoring his ridiculous parade. Right? It's all a grift. It's a money grift. This is what it is. They're going to continue to laugh their way to the bank as long as people keep letting it happen. But you're damn right, Blue Jays versus Yankees 4. Well, they got 3 games against the Athletics first in Yankee Stadium. Back to baseball for a second here. And thank you for listening to me, folks. Okay? I appreciate you folks who actually listen. All right? And try to keep a level mind. Because when I talk about it too, I also fact check stuff. Okay? All this stuff is public record. Okay? I'm not just making stuff up for the sake of making stuff up like people accused me of doing last night. Being dishonest and blah, blah, blah. I pointed out the articles. I pointed out the reporting. He had nothing to say after that. Nothing. Zero. Nothing. Okay? And I gave you corroborating articles to support the first article. Okay, multiple articles, multiple things that confirm the reporting. Take a look. It's all posted in there in the chat. I don't make stuff up just for clicks, for views. Other channels do, not me. Okay, the people that watch me, the people that come here, yeah, you're all human beings. You deserve to be treated with respect and dignity, no matter what you look like, no matter who you love, no matter who you are. That's it. So yeah, I take offense to people who treat people like they're beneath them, like they're not human beings. Yeah, that's what you do learn growing up in Catholic school, what I went through all the way through high school, right? The Bible teaches you to be decent, right? To help people in need, to feed the hungry, help the hungry, right? Help the poor, help the sick, heal the sick. Treat people as you want to be treated. This is a real thing. Who's advocating for IKF? And you know what? Like, thank you for throwing some humor into this. There are there are a couple of reports that the Yankees and the San Francisco Giants are like keeping a close eye on IKF. Now, look, is he an upgrade over what we have now? Yes, but I think that they're looking, and what I'm hearing is that they're looking to a step above that. Now, the problem with that is we just don't know if the guys that are a step above or 2 steps above are going to be made available. And this is the whole point of the seller's market. Seller's market means there's going to be more buyers than sellers, meaning the sellers can jack the prices up, right? And to try to get people to overbid. This happens every year at the deadline. And you're going to wait for somebody to have, well, this guy's in a desperate overpaying, blah, blah, blah. And somebody forks up the money or forks up the prospects that they want, and that's it, right? And the team gets what they want, well, they hold on to the guy. But guys that are going to be free agents like Kyle Finnegan, I think IKF, like Ryan Helsley, Mid Rosario, like a couple of those guys, like I can see those guys more easily moved. But the Twins can hold on to a guy like John and their closer until they get what they want, right? And there's a reason why the Pirates are not going to trade Paul Skeens unless they get somebody's five out of their top 10 prospects, and 3 of them are 3 top 100 prospects in baseball. Like, unless you get an absolute ransom for Paul Skeens, the Pirates are not going to trade him, right? So I think it's going to be, well, especially when it comes to the Yankees, I think it's going to be a more strategic deadline. And they're going to try to get what they can get, and they're going to, I know Brian Cashman's actively scouting the market. So, and he's working the phones every day. But it takes 2 to tango. Like, a lot of folks are saying, well, Cashman just call. Well, I understand that, but the other teams have to make the player available. Cashman just can't show up and knock on the door and say, hey, give me your guy, put him in the car. Right? And this is what you get in return. I wish it was that easy, but it's not. No. But this is the fun and the suspense of the trade deadline too. So it's going to be crazy. Like, we're less than 5 weeks away, and it's going to be crazy. So buckle up, man. I think Michael. I think we're going to make a couple of moves. I don't know about blockbuster. I think the big blockbuster already happened with Rafael Devers to the Giants. I would be shocked if a trade is made heading into the deadline that rivals that trade. I'd be shocked. Anything can happen, but I would be shocked. No. Yeah, it's foul territory, Ken. What's up, Ken? The Red Sox should be sellers. Interesting. Well, I mean, they have a young nucleus. I know there was some chatter that a couple of people were saying the Yankees should pursue Alex Bregman. But, like, he's not a fit here, number one. And we talked about this too, Ken. Like, disruption in team chemistry, first of all, because of his history with the Astros and being so smug about it. And he's also making $40 million a year. You know, and the fact is, his offensive stats, he bats almost 400 at Fenway Park. He bats under 200 at Yankee Stadium. It just doesn't line up here. And again, being over the Cohen threshold, that 40 becomes 80 automatically. Tarek Skubal would be fantastic, but I'd be shocked if the Tigers trade him being in first place. I mean, it's him and Max Fried for the Cy Young right now. If the Tigers trade Tarek Skubal, the Tigers fans are probably going to burn the stadium down. Huh. Yeah, I'm not sure if the D-backs, because the problem with the D-backs is they keep losing guys to injury, but they keep winning games. What the hell, man? They must have some intel, you know, that the Dodgers are not going to get Roki back. They're not going to get Snell back. I don't know. Like, they must have some intel suggesting or making them confident that the Padres are going to collapse or the Giants aren't going to make it. So I don't know what it is. But if the D-backs don't sell, I wouldn't be surprised. If they add, you know, I wouldn't be surprised either. Yeah, Marcelo, exactly too. The price of pitches is nuts. Which I think, and at this point too, honestly, I don't think with guys like Cam Schlittler, who's right on the cusp of coming up, I don't think there's anybody they could trade for as a starting pitcher who's going to be better than Cam Schlittler. So, might as well just call the guy up instead of trading a bunch of prospects for someone else. Because the top of the line guys are not going to be traded anyway. Like maybe Freddie Peralta gets moved, but that's going to cost Jason Dominguez or Spencer Jones or something like that, right? Maybe who's the other guy? From Sandy Alcantara, and I'm not giving Spencer Jones and Dominguez for Alcantara either. So, you know, like hell's. I mean, I think my other question is too: are the Cardinals? Because they're, you know, in the cusp of contention. They're kind of staying in there. Yeah. Well, they move Helsley, and Helsley's going to be free agent at the end of the year. As is, what the hell's his name? Kyle Finnegan from the Nationals. He's also going to be free agent at the end of the year. So, those guys, I think, could be more easily moved. But for teams that might still contend, like the Cardinals, if they're going to move anybody, I think they're going to try to move Arenado more than Helsley. But if they start trading away starting pitchers, then you know that they're more willing to unload other guys. And you know, there's only one guy I would want from the Cardinals. That's Brendan Donovan. So, but yeah. I would probably not go I wouldn't go for any starting pitchers. With Luis Hill coming back and Schlittler, I wouldn't go after Buehler. Especially after he trolled the Yankees in the offseason, so it's not worth it. I wouldn't do it. I don't really see him as that good anyway. JJ, what's up, man? What's good, Jay? Franchise? Yeah, Hill. What we're hearing on Luis Hill is that he's going to be back in July. It sounds like mid-July. So he's on the mound now, but he hasn't officially started his rehab assignment yet. Once he does that, I'm guessing he'll get maybe 4 starts, something like that, before he comes back. But we're 7 days away from July 4th, so it's like right around the corner. So, right around. It's going to be crazy in the next couple weeks. It's going to be nuts. And I'll be here and I'll be live on trade deadline day, probably for 6 or 8 hours, just giving you everything as it comes in. So that one I can't wait for. I cannot wait for that one. And I'll have guests on that day, and like I do every year, and feeding you in on all the intel as it comes in. That one's going to be awesome. Yeah, Ken, yeah, man. You sign me. Yeah, I'm with you right there with the Rockies. If you can get a deal done with Ryan McMahon and Jake Bird, that's a deal you got to make. But again, what's the price going to be? Right? You know, in first thought, like, he's a third baseman, right? So I'd give him Oswald Peraza, and I'd give him Roderick Arias as a couple of offensive pieces. And then a pitcher, maybe 2 pitchers. And because, I mean, Oswald Peraza could be the immediate fill-in for McMahon, and then Roderick Arias is a developmental one for after Peraza. He could play multiple infield positions, could play shortstop, and he's a highly touted prospect who's also a switch hitter. And he's blocked here by George Lombard anyway. So he's a perfect trade piece, in my opinion, for a guy like McMahon and Jake Bird. Oh, God, Sean, yeah, please. Brendan Donovan all day, baby. But I don't know what the Cardinals are going to get. Move on from him. No. Yeah. And I think, yeah, I mean, Ryan McMahon could probably be had at the right price. And he will be less expensive than Brendan Donovan. And rightfully so. And one of the reasons I like Brendan Donovan, Ken knows this too, is that, not only is he perfect fit, but he's also one of the best bunters in the game. And that's a skill set that the Yankees have not had for, shit, I don't know how long. Yeah. Unfortunately. It's crazy. But I'm going to get inside, gang. I want to thank you all for joining. Thank you for listening to me this morning. I appreciate all you. You are the best. Be back later with any news that comes out. Be back later with the lineup. Love you guys. You're the best. Have a great day. Let's go, Yankees. Wait, how do I shut this off?